I think it was last time or the time before, there was a cased Rigby Mauser. And here is another cased Rigby Mauser. Rigby Special 275 bore, 1899 Mauser Waffenfabrik. This is about as classic as they come. I think nobody can help but like this. That is unbelievably cool. Unbelievably cool. So this is a takedown gun. Little nut there in the front end comes off. This gun was actually made in 121 years ago, the year 1900. The year 1900. This is a classic Rigby Mauser. The Sligo on the side. This gun was made for George Brown, I think the 4th Marquis of Sligo. It is a properly awesome period piece. And there's some nice provenance to go with it for the, look at those leather caps on there. How awesome is this? This is a proper classic stalking rifle. Hunting rifle, worldwide hunting rifle. Just goes to show where we were with sporting rifles 100 years ago. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? So this is a little bit more than the last one that was in the sale. This is 4 to 6 grand, so it is a little bit more tasty, but this has got some serious provenance. If you go on the Holts website, 1150, you can read the story of the family and what they did, and this has been all over the world doing amazing stuff. And it's never been fettled with, never done anything. It's been used, you can tell from the marks, like, this is a really sweet piece of history. There's just a quick group from that rifle. It's a shooter. It's definitely a shooter. It might not be the most delicious group, but I'll tell you what, over open sights, over a distance, with a rifle that's 121 years old. Minute a deer. So it's still a usable rifle. That in itself is amazing. However, the problem with guns like this is that unless you're looking for that specifically, you just have money in your pocket and you're looking for pretty things, right next to it is, and we did look at this before, but it's so beautiful that it warrants a second look. A Fanzoy Celtic 3006. I know we've looked at it before, but oh my goodness. This could be almost the perfect bolt action rifle. The grip, the set trigger, the way it hefts, the open sights, the wood selection, the Swarovski scope, just the case, the black leather case. Look at that bolt. So I think this is a re-entry. The seller has come down in their financial expectations, which is always healthy for buyers. This is stunning. That little safety catch on the back there, as well as the wing safety, that is just stunning. I love it. I love the Celtic theme. I love the animals. This is just a good looking rifle, and a very usable one too. I would just be a little bit heartbroken to stick a silencer on it, which is almost necessary in the south of England now. Who is every blazer nut's dream? Look at this. About as high a grade blazer as you can go. Takedown, I mean, to be fair, that is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. One of my favourite additions to any rifle. You have barrels ranging 243, 7mm SJW, 7mm Rem mag, 3006, 300 Win mag, a scope for every occasion. You have, and this is probably one of my favourite bits, I say it's hard to say, one short forend and one Stutson forend. I mean, it's pretty awesome, right? It's pretty awesome. Even the blazer bolt is well engraved, the case, everything about it. Like, if you wanted to buy a gun to do absolutely everything in the world, almost, because there's no 9.3 or 223 in the rifle calibers, you could. That's just a beautiful setup. That's an absolutely beautiful setup. So you've got some really beautiful guns here that you just walk past so easily. And we're so blasé nowadays because English box are so derided or regarded as cheap or unexciting, mostly because we can now all afford English sidelocks because they are now very reasonably priced. Something like this is just beautiful. This is a C. Hellis & Sons. It's beautifully put together, the engraving is nice, the stockwork is adequate, and it's not a beautiful piece of wood. Got a nice leather case with brass corners. the English gun market is very accessible. You know, I don't know what that is. It's got 1754, but at a guess, you're not going to be paying more than £500 at auction for that. I can't imagine it's any more than that anyway. But it's a beautiful piece of English gun making history. It's every bit as good in some ways as the top end stuff. You get a lot of the positive benefit, the feel, the romantic side of it right there. It's like an entry, it's like a gateway drug. That's the gateway drug. This is particularly special, or at least a little bit unique. 1135. So this one was actually made in 1944 and was made by the Norwegians for the Germans. Obviously they weren't too happy about that, so they made them very slowly and very badly. This is one of the last ones that would have come out of the factory. And yeah, it's just an interesting piece of history, isn't it? Unfortunately, somebody has decided to put a very radical thick checkering pattern over this custom-ish grip. And it might suit somebody down to the ground. The only bad bit about this rifle, the rest of it is a fascinating piece of history, an absolutely fascinating piece of history. Imagine being asked to make guns for the people occupying your country. They're not going to be made to a high standard. And there's obviously thousands of stories like that. But it's always lovely to just grasp and feel that piece of history. And there's an interesting looking crag. The way it's designed doesn't really look quite like a crag. It looks like a crag, and a Mauser had a bit of a baby up the front end here. Cool, very cool. It's hard not to just pick up a nice pair of bosses and admire them in any sense. They are such fine guns. But we've all seen those before, unfortunately. Not those. But yeah, there's only so many times you can wax lyrical about a gun that is built to the perfect design. A pair of Purdy's with 18.6 bores. I presume that's a restock, I don't know. Is it lot 1355? Yeah, they are. There's a fair bit of wood right there. I presume that can't be too original, but it doesn't matter. There's a classic Purdy just with a monstrous big stock on it, which to be fair might be original and just for a big bloke. But it's always strange when you see one of these older guns with a stock that actually I could get away with. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Very dark wood, very dark wood indeed. These two are quite interesting. We'll get over this one first because this is not particularly unique or special, but it is in itself very special. It's a Purdy bar and wood, and we've all seen bar and wood guns before. But isn't that beautiful? The steel just sat there in the wood, in the bottom, all clipped around the stock. It's a very special sort of gun making right there. And perhaps not the strongest or anything like that, but it doesn't matter that. I've always had a soft spot for bar and woods. One day I'll own one. Like with most of these things, there's a little crack in it. It's a bar and wood gun. They're hundreds of years old. You can't expect it to be absolutely minty. Young's celebrated combined gun cleaner 303 and rust preventer. That's not as exciting as the gun that's in this. This is a Westley Richards drop lock double rifle. So this is particularly special for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's a drop lock. We've looked at these before, but for those of you new to the show, look at that, that's the entire lock plate right there in my hand. Beautifully put together. The thinking man's answer to a side lock. Very different with that sprung lock plate. Oh, it feels, they are beautiful. An elephant on the bottom, which is an indicator of how big this gun is. It is a Westley Richards 425 Magnum Express with sights fixed at 100, flip-up expresses out to 500 yards. You have a beautiful scalloping with the engraving running down here to Westley Richards 25 Conduit Street, London, gunmakers by appointment to His Majesty George V. This is a big lump of a gun. It is beautiful. I mean, it's rare to find a large, old, big game rifle like this anyway, in this sort of quality and condition. But this one is particularly special. For a large rifle, it's got some very sleek lines, and the fact it's a drop lock. And if we're going to get really particular, we'll work over top to bottom. You have a bolted safety, so that bolts your safety catch in place. Particularly handy for when you're walking around with this gun over your shoulder. You don't really want this to ND next to your head. It's not going to be good at the best of times. Crawling through some bush and shooting your guide in the back probably wouldn't be a wise idea, seeing as this probably would be locked and loaded the whole time. Flick the bolted off, safety off, and away you go. The single trigger is a brave choice. Not entirely sure when this was put together, but even double rifles now aren't quite brave enough to use single triggers. Most of them will use a double. You have a left and right, so it's actually got a selector. So I presume that if you have one and it fails to jam to move over to the next, you could, in a pinch, do that. But with a charging Buffalo, you got to hope your guide is back up and you got your running shoes on. I'm sure it wouldn't be that bad, but there is something about a single trigger double rifle that's been pointed out to me that is quite amusing. You have a lot of faith in that system. Then you're not going to be shooting a lot of practice shots through this rifle either, in my head. What an awesome machine. 410 grain solid bullets. Absolutely beautiful. That's lot 1266. Estimate of about 25 grand, which is a fair whack of money. It's a real difficulty not to get completely spoiled. This is amazing. I believe this has royal provenance. So I believe it was Prince Edward, perhaps. There is, I mean, it's all on the lot details for it. They had it on Facebook that he went out to India for a little bit, and this was part of what he did. Spearing boar on horseback. I mean, it probably doesn't fit in the modern realm of sports, but it's fair chase. It is fair chase. That's not a gimme. That is not a gimme. That's pretty epic. I think it's probably the spear that was used up top and a load of contemporary ones down the bottom. That is a different time when the future King of England, the Prince of Wales at the time, in 22, decided to go out on boar with a spear on horseback. Imagine Harry doing that. This is beautiful. A Westley Richards 577 bore with a 3-inch case, falling block. That's particularly delicious. If you have an affinity for such things. I got a little grip cap there. That's very, very nice. But the whole thing is just very beautifully made, as most things Westley Richards are. What a stunning machine that is, eh? What a stunning machine that is. A 16-bore Royal. Little crack in the stock, but that is beautiful. The lock plate looks a bit of an odd design. Well, it's not odd design, it's not seated properly, strangely. We've got to appreciate that though for what it is. The slightly scaled down actions on these are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And they are all original as well by the look of it. Very nice. This is probably one of the most beautiful guns you'll see here in terms of style and uniqueness. Starting at the stock here, you can see you've actually got engraved basket weave. That is pretty wild. The engraving is extremely stylized. The checkering is extremely stylized with this beautiful sort of raised rolling scroll border. If that floats your boat, that's great. The forend follows the same side. It is just, that workmanship is beautiful. It is beautiful. Damascus is great quality, and the action follows suit. Like it's really nicely put together. But for me, it's the giant flower on the fences. It's just stunning. The angle there as well over the top. It's tight. I guess that's being rejointed. Oh no, it was just stiff. It's been sat in that rack for a little bit. There's a bit of oil in there. Oh man, look at those fences. That is stunning. Whew. Absolutely stunning. They've got a couple of really nice lumps of wood. We never really show off the accessories and bits they have here. That is spanking. That is an absolutely lovely piece of wood. Probably a bit loud and wild for some people. Probably not ideal for a side-by-side. But for those of us who don't mind that, would be a very good looking piece of wood. There are some serious guns here, guys. That's just an exceptionally fine looking little gun. And again, the wood isn't going to set anyone's life. We have a real obsession with wood nowadays, I suppose. When actually it's the metal work that is almost the more beautiful part of the art. Look at that scroll. The heavy drops on that. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Oh, I don't know how I missed this. I might have seen this before. Who cares? Alex Henry. Look at that engraving pattern. Just vine leaves. Just a vine work all the way down the side. That is just beautiful. Look at that top. Look, this is a stunning gun. 1,500 to 2 grand. So the stock is been battered a little bit. The checkering is very worn. It's had an extension, but that's fine. Don't worry about that. A few repairs, a little crack. Oh, it's not even not a proper crack, just a little easing. Feels good. Looks reproved. 1973. Sleeved. No, there's the downside. Is it a downside? Probably not in the modern world. You can care slightly less about wanging whatever fate throws at us cartridge-wise through it. It's a nice sleeving job as well. Like, that is a good sleeving job. Yeah, that is a good sleeving job. I presume that's, yeah, 1973 London reproof for the sleeving. I like that a lot. Stock dimensions are sensible. Actually got a bit of comb height there as well. If you can get past some of the more doggy sides, you could own one of the most oh, that's cool. You've actually got engraved breech ends, but it's worn out. Whether you choose to repick that, I think actually a gun of this style, I don't really like the engraved breech end sort of thing, but I could dig it with this breech style, or sorry, with the engraving style. That's beautiful. Very different. Very different indeed. Here, Daniel Fraser & Co. Gun and Rifle Manufacturers, 4 Leith Street Terrace, Edinburgh. This is a 303 bore double rifle. This is a beautifully scaled, beautifully stocked. Look at the way this whole action comes together. Look how the stock comes down, that comes into this horn pistol grip cap. This is a very well made, beautifully put together double rifle. And even better, it's in 303. Same as that rifle earlier, you have a bolted safety. You have flip up rear peep sight. Really keep yourself in line. You have sighted 100 and 200 yard leafs. But just pay a little attention to that little beading and all that work done at the front of that sight. This gun is just particularly special. The stock work, the action work, the engraving, and then the brains to put all of that together into this delicious package. Be a little short than me to use it properly, but this is still a user, and that's still one of the best bits about it. So it's not often you actually get to see Keymans that are not your standard care for the basic model. It's amazing how you can judge an entire gun maker just based off their workhorse guns, because that's the one that people buy to go and shoot close with, and the KM4s shoot exceptionally. There's a pair of 20 bore Keymans here in the sale, and they are just stunning. Like, the actual quality of craftsmanship and engraving is very nice. So the seal bit isn't actually ready yet, but we've managed to just skim a little bit of cream off the top of the vast piles of guns. It's going to be one of the biggest seal bids these guys have ever had. And Charlie, Holts' latest unfortunate recruit,
the bottom of the pile,
is going to take us through a couple of them.
So yeah, we were just kind of digging around. You were being a bit nosy, as always, and we just took out a couple of things that just look cool, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, we'll go for one of the coolest first.
You like that, do you?
I do. It's a bit of me. It goes back to kind of the old school Xbox days, playing Call of Duty or something like that. It's a PPSH, fully deactivated.
That's a shame.
Up to date.
A modern deactivation as well.
A modern deactivation, but
which is the law.
They do now allow you to pull the trigger on the modern deacs. They've updated it again.
Yes.
So it used to be that you couldn't pull a trigger or cycle any of it, but now they've kind of made it so there's a little bit more movement in it. So you can still play.
Yes.
A little bit.
Yeah. I prefer the old ones where you can still rack it and do absolutely everything. I understand perhaps why that's not the case anymore, but it is pretty cool. I had a Bren once, and that was fully working, but not fully well. Oh, mate, that was
they
really
are
good.
just, it's something else, and it's just, you do just play, but you've got an even cooler deac that you picked out.
Yes.
The coolest deac ever.
Do you know how much it's going to go up for?
I don't know exactly off the top of my head.
Well, it's lot 2055, so
it's not
people
a huge
can just use the
amount
internet to look.
The greatest thing to hang in your pub.
pub, out bedroom. We could do some serious wife negotiation. That sight is particularly cool as well, right? For those of you who've never held it's just a bazooka, right?
So that's the second level of the M1 bazooka. So it's got electron recognition for firing your rockets kind of once you load in the back. That thing at the top there, that lever, you shove your bazooka in and then you flick it up.
And that locks your bazooka in place.
Locks it in place.
The rocket thing.
Yeah, your rocket.
Yeah.
And then you flick it up to fire, aim it through the sight, which is everything for range, though I don't really think anyone's going to accurately fire that at any serious range.
It's 500 yard on there. Is it 500 yards? I'll have another look. Sorry, it's just an excuse to pick it up.
I don't even know why you're advertising this, Johnny, because you are the one who's going to buy this.
400 yard is where it maxes out, and it's got enough windage to shake a battleship. I presume each of those knots is probably a 10 mile an hour.
I have no idea, but that is fully designed just for kind of proper use.
But not anymore, because it's deactivated.
Not anymore, no.
But it is a very cool tube of steel, either way.
Probably moving from your military to something a bit more classic.
Yeah, that's probably wise.
We got this. Now this is just kind of, to the untrained, it's just a Mauser 98.
Yeah.
This is a Gibbs. It's just a really nice example.
Actually, it's got the thumb cut out, which is that Fanzel head, which you don't often see, but I see it right here.
Get rid of that. I mean, the glass on it at the moment is very good, but
it's a classic Nico Sterling, though. It's very much in line. At the time when that was probably attached to it, that was cutting edge. Don't knock it.
Yeah. 25.6. So not the easiest caliber to get, but you can always find them. So I was over.
Or have some loaded.
I was this week over at Kainamco, having some fun with them, and they're brilliant. If you take any kind of rifle in, any old caliber, 248 packs.
And they're not expensive. They're not for what it is.
And they're really nice guys, and they properly sit you down. They got Ben there, who's doing a lot of it with David at the moment. And yeah, it's fantastic, the sort of stuff.
Where is that?
It's just around the corner near Cambridge.
Yeah.
So there, you can pop in with your rifle, leave it with them for a month, and they will then have set out all to make your ammunition forever, really.
That's
as long as you keep ordering.
Yeah, that's very
But
cool.
it's just a classic rifle with a classic look, and there's...
It's got a nice length of stock. It's a nice feeling rifle. That is a nice
There's a Holland
rifle.
and Holland in the mainsail.
Yeah, the 375.
The 240 Apex. It's almost identical.
I haven't seen that.
I'll show you.
Thanks, mate.
And this is the same gun. It's not the same caliber.
It's not quite, but
it is.
It's the sort of version of the Holland and Holland that you or I could afford. It's nice. It's probably nice. I feel like the sling is lacking.
It is a little bit. It does feel a little bit.
Like you could tell this gun was a user up until the last. The fact that it's been modified and had an absolutely, at the time, very good scope on, and then a string sling. That is. I'm not sure whether that counts as desperation or not, but it is.
It could have been done in the field. It does look like the chord of someone's whistle that in the field they're sling bloke and they went, oh, blast.
Yes, they said blast.
It's children watching.
Yeah, probably. This is really sweet. I like this a lot. Yeah, the Cox & Son, little sleeved 410. Someone's spent some cash on this gun, having it sleeved and having it done up and then subsequently abusing it. I think that's wicked. That's a proper user fun, shooting some squirrels.
Everyone's got to have a 410 in their life somewhere.
Yeah, and you might as well have a good one.
Yeah.
I love that little cheating grip thing. You could probably work your way around it. But I think that's wicked.
Someone with hands your size, it doesn't quite work, but the hands of
For a child.
The hands of a boy.
A boy, right boy. Mate, I love the mainsail, but the sealed bid always brings you more smiles.
There's always a lot of fun.
Because you could buy 5 or 6 guns.
Yeah, for the price of one.
For the price of one. And then mostly they'd be scrap.
Yeah.
But they're interesting scrap. That's not fair, not allowed to call it that. This is wicked, by the way. Oh, that's really special.
Yeah, it's just a bit different. If you pop it apart, you can just see that's where it gets really special when you get inside it.
That cutaway there is pretty cool.
It's just that level of craftsmanship that you just don't normally see, and it's in a sealed big gun, so it's even better.
Yeah, it's going to be eminently very affordable. It's quite German, but it's a very beautiful German gun. They don't always come out looking this good.
Yeah, they kind of almost have quite a harsh exterior, but with the Merkels and things like that, and that sort of price range. But that's just something for you and I, John, that we can actually afford.
Yeah, and that sort of fourth bite draw piece surface area improvement thing it's quite cool. Like, I've never seen anything like that before. It's a strange patent. It's different, right? But that is, I think that's very smart the way that locks up. Enough of the very nice antique stuff or older stuff, back into the...
You want to go modern now?
Let's go plastic again. There's not many greater plastic guns than that.
I mean, it's just a little bit different. So people are probably looking there who don't know what it is, thinking it's just a weird looking pump action, but it's not. It's also a semi-auto.
Yeah. It's a Benelli M3 Chromo. I've heard recently that GMK have started, you can actually buy a new 3-shot version, which the reason there's not many about is because they all used to come in FAT.
Yeah,
they wouldn't crimp it.
The fact that you can do both, that you can be one moment kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of many situations where that's actually that handy, apart from police and military use, which is obviously why they do it.
Well, it's when you go for those old Russian kind of special forces shotguns, the square ones. It's just that similar sort of approach.
You'd buy that because it's cool, not because
you
it's
buy it for
practical.
the gimmick of shooting both. When you want to choose a little, I've got a little pump action.
You want to shoot some 21 grams at rats? Shoot 21 grams at rats and pump it away.
I've got a pump action at home, and it is just a toy, so I feel like Al Capone.
Mate, I love them. I absolutely love that M3. I think it's one of the coolest Benellis there is. It's a shame there's not more about.
Things I love though. This is my favourite thing in a wholesale bed.
Oh wow!
I actually don't want to tell anyone about it because I want it.
Then don't. There you go. That's easy, isn't it?
This is a CZ in 416.
It's about the cheapest 416 new available, and now this one is used.
It's a bargain.
If you wanted 416.
It is an absolute bargain. It's at 300 to 600, I believe.
What would you use it for if you bought it? Or you just
what would
want
I
to buy
want to use it for, or what could I like? Because of course it's a Buffalo caliber.
It's the cheapest part of the trip is buying that rifle.
This by far.
Yeah.
And then you've got your ammunition, which is about £20 for 5. But it's a brilliant gun. The bolt on it is smooth.
So £20 for 5 is probably cheap as well.
That's probably trade.
Yeah.
But
it's
got the fantastic kind of, you can do your African reload when you're kind of properly smashing it in, and you can really imagine just being out and just...
So what you're saying is, between that and that, you can pretend you're in World War II or Call of Duty, or you could pretend that you can afford to shoot
I'm not
buffalo.
pretending. I think this is, at this time, these guns are just, they're always on good value because of their calibers. This is a legendary caliber. It's up there with 375.
Not many people have it on their license.
Which is good though for those who want to buy it. But it's up there with 375, 500 nitro. This is one of the kind of the kings, the royalty of big game African calibers.
Yeah, and it's just in a bargain format.
And I mean, you could get CZ do wooden stocks for these that have quite nice grades of wood. So once you've got your action, you've got your gun really, and you can kind of swap it over.
You can spend the next 15 years building it in something you like, and then
until you're old enough and have a pension and such to. I just think it's fantastic, and I was meant to be in Africa before COVID, and this just screams to me of all those things I wanted to be out there doing in an affordable package that isn't like some of those ones that we have over there,
which are stunning.
Stunning examples, but imagine you're walking through the bush and you're catching it on a thorn, and there's lots of thorns in Africa, I can tell you. If you catch this on a thorn, it's just another bit of the gun, isn't it?
I feel like the gun is an important part of the trip. If we're going to go down that road, the gun is an important part of the trip. I think taking that in its current format would be dull. I understand why it's cool because it's cheap. But if you're going to go and do the expense, you might as well put a wooden stock on it and have a couple of custom bits done to it. A little play.
Just a little bit of work.
And then still just go and beat it all to hell. Because it's still a CZ.
Live it.
Yeah.
No, I just think it's fantastic, and if anyone else bids on it, I'll be very angry with them.
Yeah, I mean, somebody bid on it because that would be hilarious to watch a small man go tamping. This is the final sealed bid one. I mean, there are some actual genuine, nice, buyable guns. Most of these are just fun toys, right?
That we enjoy.
Yeah.
We are big kids, really. Yeah.
This is cool. Rifle, AR-10 actually, because it's in 7.62. How cool is that? Converted to the UK, single shot, straight pull, left hand, cocking. Comes with a 5-shotter. Yeah, mate. That's actually not a bad format. The fore end is vile that someone's put on there, but because it's an AR, you can change it.
You can just screw bits off, order them in, and yeah, that's the kind of model.
I like it. I mean, it is, and they are quite basic, but that's why they don't sell for a lot.
But this one is, they've taken a couple of them off ticket recently, having people having to hand them back in. This one is still allowed to be owned because it hasn't got the inert gas.
Yep.
So this is the one to have now. If you're after if you're after your AR, this is now what you kind of got to go for unless you're playing with T2s.
It's a good base for a build. It's a good base for a build. It's actually in fairly good order as well.
You could triggers brim it and change the barrel, change the forearm, change the stock, and it would still be your same gun, but...
You know, that's the first thing I'd do. The barrel's too long and too heavy for this style of gun, in my opinion. Because if you're buying it, you're doing something fun, like shooting fast.
Yeah, you're going for that kind of tactical style of stuff, but it's a base of building something special, but once you've done it, that's achievement, isn't it?
Yeah, for anybody who in this country wants to own guns that we can't own, it's a flavour.
It's the closest you can get. Unless you're shooting 2-2.
Which is not quite the same.
Yeah.
I think that's very cool. I wonder how much it is. I suppose you can find out if you're on the sealed bid at website 9009. And you tell me in the comment section. Well, that was it, the June 2021 sale, or to be honest, a very small portion of it. This is probably one of the biggest sales we've been to here. I mean, it is one of the biggest sales, it is the biggest sale we've been to here. There's no ifs or buts about it. And they've got piles upon piles upon piles of best quality side locks. Things that, again, we haven't even looked at. A J. Woodward push under lever, arcaded fences. There is enough beautiful stuff here to satisfy anybody. It is insane. Plus a few little beauties that, well, you've seen in separate videos. Guys, as always, the Holts website has got everything you want to see on it. Go, place a bid, have a look. You don't have to be trade. It's not scary. In fact, it's dangerously easy. If you want a condition report on anything, drop them an email. One thing we can say for these guys from personal experience, having bought a couple of things here now, is that everything comes with a condition report that is brutally honest. And when then you see it in person, which luckily I get to come up here and see these things in person, they never let you down. Like, it is always true to their word. And there's always something here to float every boat and every pocket, which is, wow, nice. As much as I think most of us will have champagne tastes. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Take care. Thanks to Holts for having us once again. And good luck at the auction if you're bidding.